I remember watching this film as a kid the first time and just being like in shock and not knowing what to expect and the structure being so strange and so amazing, but I remembered everything. What was it like for you? What was it when you read the script thinking, this is such a unique, different film?
Well, he mailed the script to me. There was this simple note: "Hi, my name is Stanley Kubrick. I'm a filmmaker, and I'm making this Vietnam film, Full Metal Jacket." Because I mean, how wonderful that he never wanted to presume that everybody should know who he is and what his name was. It was very innocent, his letter, and I wonder if you'd be interested in participating. And he didn't say what role it was or anything, and the script didn't look like anything, any kind of film script I'd read before. It didn't have, you know, like that classic final draft format of slug line, action, character, dialogue. It felt more like an outline for a novel. You know, it was suggestions of what might be happening and something that somebody might say in this circumstance. And it was part of the evolution of the artistic process that separates Stanley Kubrick from other filmmakers. That people always assume that he was this, he was a great statistician. What is that you say that word?
Strategist.
Strategist. And but he knows and had the wisdom to know that the best way to be creative was to allow something to evolve in an organic way, so that when you bring the actors onto the set with the dialogue that's been agreed upon, okay, let's see what you're going to do, and really act out the scenes, not kind of play at the scenes until you're ready, till the camera's rolling, but let's really see, you know, really act it out, and then during that process, he would figure out where to put the camera to best tell the story, or what, you know, now that it's up on its feet and people are saying those words, what's inappropriate and doesn't need to be said, or what needs to be added to make something more clear. It was very organic evolution of creativity. Just like if you were a painter standing in front of a canvas and you've been painting with orange and you realize it's too strong and you have to do something to tone it down, and we have to cover it with some yellow and layer it, you know, that it was that's not something that people think was something that happened on a Stanley Kubrick film set, but it was a constantly evolving, or process.
For you, this character is, there's very few characters that I can think of that just are so iconic. You see it and you know it. What was that like? What was it? What did you put in? This was your first feature, right? Mm-hmm. What was it like to take that on?
Yeah, I mean, it was just acting. It's you know, I was young and I was a very confident actor, mm-hmm. you know. And I don't get like butterflies very often. And my friends always think that I'm a little mentally deficient because of that. But it's just not part of my makeup. I get nervous about life things, but not about acting. Mm. And so I went in and knew that I had a job to do, and saw the character as a particular way, and eventually, slowly, with the scenes that we started out with, he started to get an idea of what I was doing, and he never complained about it. Right? I mean, he just let me keep going. So I said, okay, I'm not getting fired yet. This is awesome. And so I would just keep doing it, and then he sent me signals by letting me know how, like for instance, there's a bleacher scene, and where we're all sitting, and the sergeant is telling us about
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, Lee Harvey Oswald, and I was super hot, and I had a towel over my head. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
I had like a. Is that in the movie?
No.
No, the towel's not.
No, just a crazy look.
Just a crazy look.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I had seen Clockwork Orange and The Shining and stuff, and so when he did this thing where he would go so I did this kind of out of reality kind of thing where I was just kind of, you know, blank kind of stare. But then he did this thing where he would say, keep your head there, and I'm going to raise the camera. And so the minute he did that, and he goes, now look up at the camera, I knew exactly what he was doing because he had done it in all the other movies. And so he goes, I'm going to raise it higher and higher until it became that look. So he kind of cued me to then, this is where I want you to go, without ever talking about it. This is where I want you to go with the next scenes that fit in this in that order, in the order before the bathroom scene. So he kind of cued me into the insanity. So then I thought, okay, so I keep doing what I'm doing, and then whenever he wants to do that shot, he's going to tell me. So all I got to do is show up with the interior, and then he's gonna mold it the way he wants. And so, you know, when we finally got to the bathroom scene, he told me the night before in the parking lot that he wanted it to be there was the first and only time he'd ever said any kind of direct story thing to me. He said, I want it to be big, I want it to be Lon Chaney big, and I said, okay, I can do that, and we went in the next day and we shot it. It was a very kind of, you know, he was so kind to me all the time that I didn't feel pressured at all by him. I just wanted to do a good job, and I knew that I could if I put my mind to it. You know, I was confident in that way. So, but Stanley had his way of doing things without saying anything, without ever going into metaphors or silliness or talking you through things. He had his way of giving you cues, either blatant cues like do it faster, do it quicker, or like you said, be brilliant, you know, which is a direction that Stanley gave him one time, that you remember from the documentary.
That's right, yeah.
That's what it was like for me. It was just going in there and just hanging in there and getting it done, you know.
Lynn, with you, why did he want to tell this story? I mean, there's so many stories as to a lot of critics didn't really get all the real intricate things in this film.
We're in Full Metal Jacket. You wanted to
Yeah.
read? Because he'd been looking for a story that he could, you know, he'd already made an anti-war film in Paths of Glory.
Yeah.
You know, and that was partly a fashionable thing then, but it was also a story which is so relevant and inhuman that it turned into a real anti-war story. What he wanted to do was find a subject matter which was just about war, what it does to people, the kind of people you have to take out of their societies and put into another situation and tell them to kill people. And I remember we were coming back in the car from somewhere, and he said, I think I found the book. And he told me about it, and he said it just really fitted the bill for him, because there's no good or bad. There's ambiguity with everything, you know. So, you know, as you were pointing out, you don't feel happy that Lee Ermey is being killed, because you realize that, holy shit, this guy was probably saved a few of those young lives by teaching them, but it had to be hard. I'm cruel, but I am fair.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we always used to say, Sandra would say, what was Stanley like? Well, he was a cruel man, but fair.
But fair,
But so this fitted his bill perfectly, because there's no judgment. I mean, you could try and make a pro this judgment or pro that, but it won't stand up, because it's these opposition forces hitting each other, which there's no rhyme or reasoning, really, if you look at it.
As Joker says in the beginning, the phony tough and the crazy brave.
Phony tough and the crazy brave.
I think that's a big key to the film.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am your senior drill instructor. From now on, you will speak only when spoken to, and the first and last words out of your filthy sewers will be sir. Do you maggots understand that? Sir! Yes, sir! You will be a weapon. You will be a minister of death, praying for war.